So I'm going to tell you to distort your master. So here's a common scenario that I see coming up. Get to your final mix, you get to the stage where you may be like referencing it and you're having to master this yourself, or you want to get a quick version to test out when you play out because we can go back outside. Things like the upper mids, the highs, or like the vocal are a little bit buried, right? The inclination is awesome. We're gonna just do massive EQ boost and that's gonna fix it, right? And the more lateral minded of us who've got a bit of time and we can go back to it, we go back into the mix and we find those elements in the mix and we give it a massive EQ boost. I basically just want to tell you there is another way. What we can do is we can use distortion to fill out and reshape that area and that part that's lacking. The way this works is distortion, essentially what it does, it adds more harmonics into a sound. So we can use a blend of a really distorted part of that track, just that little area, just squeezing it down just to the point that needs it, and then blend that in with the rest of the track. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't the idea of mastering to get the best version of a track, the best, most finite quality that we can maintain? And yeah, it is. The idea is we want to have a track that sounds good on as many different platforms as possible. And we also need to consider where that music's going to be coming from and going to be heard. Is it going to streaming? Is it going to CD? Is it purely going to be SoundCloud? Are we playing this out tonight? We need to consider those things as well in that process. Is it going to be heard by people watching a YouTube video on their phone? So let's have a look at what we can do to make this work. Now in this example, I'm probably going to use Ozone 9, but you can use any tool that you've got. What I would suggest is do something that naturally supports multiband and that has a different distortion algorithms and that you can have a blended mix of. Two others I know that could work really well for you are Trash or Saturn. Today's video is brought to us by DistroKid. They're the channel sponsor and they're a digital distributor. They help you get your music onto all those major digital platforms like Apple Music and Spotify, and they do it at a price that an independent artist like you and me can easily afford. If you want a discount off of your first year, use the link in the description today. Right, so here's one of the sessions of mine in Logic. And I picked this particular track because in this one factor here, I've done what I'm talking about and I've used a specific area, I've pushed that up. So let's go over how I would find that kind of point and why I would do it. What we'll do, we'll switch everything off and I'm going to load up this guy, Tonal Balance. I use this a lot. The fact is, if I run, let's say, the busiest section through this will give me a kind of indication as to where I'm at with the overall track. Right, so when we're looking at this, right around 2K, and if I just hold Option, I can hear what's in that area, right? And to me, this is an area that probably needs to come up. Now this mix sounds fine, sure. Now the inclination to just boost it with an EQ, that would do the job, but let's have a listen to the two. So what we'll do here, let's grab Q3. We know it's a little bit above 2K, so it's going to be sort of here. You know, we'd be kind of inclined to like do something like that, right? When mastering, we don't really want to go beyond 3 dB. And you know, when we now look at tonal balance, that's done the job. And if we A and B it, does help. It lifts it up, it sounds a little bit better, it's more in line with tonal balance. Because don't ever just rely on this, you still need to A-B and listen and make sure it does still sound right. Now that does the job, fine, EQ boost, lifted the whole thing, kind of fixed. However, we can get a much better and nicer result doing this. What we can do here, and it's kind of special, we've got a multiband split across the top, so I can go boom, 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 and give it loads of points like so. When we have a look in here and we sweep through, we can hear that like here to here is lacking. So a bit below 2K, up to around like the 4K area. So we can kind of isolate this. We can go a little bit below, so sort of 1.8, right the way up to sort of 4K. Gives us this little area here, and we can solo it. And we know we're in the right ballpark there. Now, if we now push this up, we can really distort that. Now we're adding loads of extra harmonics. It doesn't sound bad, it's not really distorting the whole track. And we've got it isolated, so we need to hear it in context. Hear how much duller that becomes when we turn it off. It's not detrimental to the track, it's not destroying it, it's making it brighter with harmonics. Just to be clear, I'm massively overdoing that. Now, different types of distortion are going to give it a different effect. Analog, completely different, for example. We need to find the right kind of flavour. This is going to add loads of hits, this is far too much. However, this is where the mix comes in. So we can way over distort it like this and now dial the mix right back. So this is where we were. We can maybe give it a 25% blend. It's getting us closer. Does it sound better? It changes the profile so much. It gives a real focus into that snare and vocal sound. Now the other way is to have a blend of amount and the mix. You see, as we take the amount down, it's actually the amount that's being distorted. And then we can blend it in a bit more. And that gives it a different flavour overall. And it's giving us the lift we're after here. Gives us a lot more focus in that area. So I hope you can really hear how that snare now lifts out of the track. And all we've done is a little bit of distortion in a really small area. Now this trick doesn't just work with this kind of focused area here. The low end on this track, the sub, is a little bit lost in places. It's fine in the mix. Overall in our reference though, it could be there a little bit more. We can use this same trick to add extra harmonics in the low end and balance that out as well. Check this out. Extra harmonics in the low end, and it gives us loads of extra weight to sit on. Remember, in this track, all we've done now is distort some frequencies between sort of 2 to 4K and add a tiny little fraction of distortion on the low end. And it's helped us rebalance the track. There's our original balance. Now that gives us a much nicer result, right, than just using an EQ boost. Well, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe to the channel because this is the kind of content we do and you've watched this far. And if you want to learn a little bit more about mastering your own music, you should watch this video just here.